Hi, this is Tina Childress, and I am here to talk to you about some viewing options for Zoom when you are on a Chromebook. We know that Chromebooks are a little bit limited in terms of what you're able to see as well as what you're able to do. So hopefully some of the screenshots and some of the insight that I'll be sharing with you guys today will be helpful as you decide what works best for you and or your students in terms of what they're able to see on the screen. So the first thing that I did is I just started, taking screenshots on my Chromebook of the different views, and I just kind of kept track of what they were. So the first one you'll see here is gallery view, full screen. And so what I did is I used various accounts that I have and I logged into a Zoom meeting. So for purposes of this video, this one with my picture, let's pretend that this is the main presenter, or if you work in the schools, this might be a teacher. This icon here with my Gmail address, this is an icon for sign language interpreter. So for those of you that are using sign language interpreters, this is what I'm going to use to represent that individual. So as you see when you're in gallery view and you're in full screen, everybody is about the same size. So if you are wanting to have a class discussion or something like that, it's nice to be able to see everybody all nice and big. The other thing that you should know is that if you are a presenter and you are on a computer, that you can actually rearrange the video, the video of your participants to put them in whatever order that you want, but you can only do this if you are on a Windows computer or you are on a Mac. But since you'll be sharing your screen, then everybody else will see the same thing. So that's kind of a nice thing to keep in mind. So if you are not in full screen and you're on a Chromebook, and you are looking at speaker view, this is what you're going to see. So me as the main speaker, I'm here nice and big, but all the other participants are small and they are viewed up here in the top ribbon. So you know that you're not full screen because you are able also to see this dock that you see at the bottom of Chromebook. So that's another indicator that you're not full screen. If you are in speaker view and you are in full screen, you will be able to see the presenter or the speaker. And if you're on your Chromebook, you're also going to be able to see yourself. And that's it. I don't understand why that's the view that they have, but that's what happens. Next, if you are in gallery view, but you're not full screen, again, you are going to see everybody a little bit bigger, but because you have this dock down at the bottom, it just makes the window a little bit shorter. So you're losing some space down here at the bottom, but not significantly. All right, so what happens when you actually want to share content from your screen? So right now I'm thinking about this from the perspective of the teacher or the presenter. So what I did is I went ahead and shared my screen like normal, and this is the view of the participant that's viewing this on a Chromebook. So it's, the presenter has shared their screen, the Chromebook user is viewing this in full screen, and so you do see the presentation, but you only see the presenter in the small window here to the side. So what happens if you get out of full screen? And this is a little bit weird. I'm not sure why this happens. So when I was on my Chromebook and I was viewing the screen share and I exited full screen, what ended up happening is that all the participants ended up in this top window. And then this weird thing happened with the screen share where the size was not right. But the way that you fix that is you go up to options up here and then you click on Fit to Window, and then all of a sudden now the screen share is the appropriate size. But again, all the participants are up here at the top, including the main speaker. So I learned something today that I felt like I needed to share with you. It was funny. I was already thinking about making this video, and then this person, her name is Alicia Barnes, came up with this great bypass for people that are on Chromebooks and they're trying to see a presentation, but the view is really, really small and they're not able to see, the teacher or the presenter, or they're not able to see their sign language interpreter. So her solution or bypass was to not only do a screen share, but the way that she did the screen share was that she shared her presentation. And if you'll notice, this is not in full, like, it doesn't take up the whole window. When you are in PowerPoint and you go to the tab that says slideshow, there is a selection for setup slideshow, and you want to click on individual window as opposed to, taking up the whole screen, because then what that allows you to do is that the whole presentation is automatically sized to the size of the window that you set up on your screen. So for me, my window is this wide and it's this tall, okay? But then the other thing that you do in this method is if you, and this really only works if you have a dual monitor, is that you will take your view from Zoom as a host and you bring it into this other window, which is next to the presentation. And all of a sudden, you're able to see not only the presenter or the teacher, but also the sign language interpreter. And what I did is I actually did a multi-spotlight. So again, Zoom makes some limitations, and multi-spotlight only happens when you are on a Windows computer or a Mac computer. But by spotlighting the interpreter and by spotlighting me, I know that we will be big on the screen all the time. And then I can keep going through with my slides, and I'll know that the participants are able to see me, but also see the sign language interpreter. And as you can see here up at the top, you can see the other participants, but they're small and they'll be at the top ribbon. Now, when you're on, and this is the view from a Chromebook, and you'll see that there's no way to switch to gallery view or speaker view when you're on a Chromebook when someone is sharing a screen. So this is the workaround that Alicia and her colleagues came up with. Now, if you want to see everybody all the same size, all you have to do is take off the spotlighting. And again, this is the same thing where the presentation is in this individual window here on the left. And you have the Zoom host view with the participants, and everybody is the same size. Now, I just wanted to see what it would look like if I took everything out of full screen. And the weird thing is you see like what you saw in the previous slide, but then you also see the participants in the window or in the ribbon on the top, which we don't really need to see. So this is not a view that I would recommend. So speaking about recommendations, you guys know me and how much I love to make charts. So what I did is I went through all those different screen sharing scenarios, and I made you a chart of what a participant must see on their Chromebook. And if it's highlighted in green, I feel like those are probably the views that are going to be most useful for you. Of course, you can experiment, but I thought I would just make this chart so that you can see kind of what the options are. What happens if you do full screen? What happens if you do shared screen? What happens if you do any kind of multi-spotlight? And then also, here is my summary for Chromebook users. You can pause this video and kind of take a look at this, but I hope that was helpful. Have a great night.